Welcome into the I-80 boys. Tennessee versus Oklahoma. We got a big one here, Christian, Saturday night. I'm going to start with Tennessee. Look, man, we know what Tennessee is, right? 3-0, big win over Chattanooga, 69-3 week one. NC State, who was ranked at that time, 51-10. Tennessee just dismantled them that game. And then the big win over Kent State, 71-0 last week. Look, I mean, anybody that follows football knows this offense has been cooking, man. They put up some crazy numbers. I want you to check these stats, dude. Number 2 in the country in yards per game with 693. Number 3 in the country in rushing yards per game with 336. Number 23 in the country in passing yards per game with over 304. Now, that starts with Nico. He's looked great. He has. He's been everything the Tennessee man has been telling me about. Same goes for Dylan Sampson, the running back, dude. This guy is, and this kind of shocks me a little bit that they're running the ball this much. Been super efficient, man. He's putting up huge numbers here. He's got, what has he got? Over damn near 400 yards rushing this year. And yeah, 9 touchdowns on the ground for Dylan Sampson. Now, I will say this with the offense. Let's be honest here. We caught some flack. Remember, Christian, when we did the NC State video, we both came on here and said, hey, you guys beat something called Chattanooga. Well, they really haven't played anybody outside of NC State. Now, I'm not shitting on NC State, but NC State probably not as good as what everybody thought they were going to be so far this season. They went out. Yes, you dominated something called Kent State 71-0. That's great. You went out and did what you were supposed to do. I'm not knocking Tennessee. Look, but you're going to find out this weekend against Oklahoma in that defense. Now, for the flip side of the ball here defensively, this is something where another thing I'm very impressed with Tennessee, and Tennessee fans, let me know, Chris, you're sleeping on the front 7. They have been lights out. They have been really good. As you guys know, I took Tennessee this year to be potentially a dark horse to win the SEC. I actually put some money on that before the season started. My biggest question was, can that defense improve and win the games and shut out some teams that they're supposed to, do? With that being said, they've been great. Like I said, they're only giving up 4.3 points per game right now. That's 3rd in the country. They're also giving up less than 160 yards per game. Very impressive. That's number 2 in the country. So with that being said, Christian, I'll kick it over to you for Oklahoma.
Yeah, Chris, I mean, Oklahoma, they've had a couple of down games after a strong week 1 performance. I mean, they barely beat Houston, and they let Tulane hang around a little bit for them. This is their welcome to the SEC moment, unfortunately, for them. So, look, quarterback Jackson Arnold, he leads the team in rushing currently. And he's put up over 640 yards to 9 touchdowns. So he's done pretty good. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, my God. The guys had to do everything for him. They've had injuries at the wide receiver position. Deion Burks, he's been the go-to guy for Arnold, putting up 170 yards and 3 touchdowns for him currently. To me, the run game, you're going to look to Javante Barnes and Taylor Tatum to step up in this one. They've been the go-tos outside of Arnold in the running game. The scary part for Oklahoma is, like you touched on, Chris, Tennessee has a top 5 defense right now in a lot of important categories that matter the most. And I look for them to try to take advantage of that O-line that's been really suspect at times to keep Arnold upright. On the other side of the ball, Chris, the Sooners have had their hands full, right? Tennessee seems to put up 60-plus points every time they come out there. So even worse yet, the Sooners are ranked 108th in the country in total defense. 108th in the country in total defense. That's Brent Venables' specialty. So that's not good. And it doesn't look good going into this one. I'm not trying to harp or hate on Oklahoma. It's just you got to look at the facts and you got to look at what the hype is coming into this game. Look, for them to have a shot, they got to hold up in the pass coverage, and they got to get Tennessee off script. They got to be able to shut the run game down, and I want to talk about that for a minute. When people think of Tennessee, they think of the passing attack. They think of up-tempo, that veer-and-shoot offense that Heupel runs. Tennessee likes to run the football. You touched on it. They'll lean on the ground a little bit, and they'll run the football at you. But Oklahoma has to limit the damage there, I think, to really get them off script in this one. Look, the heart and soul of this defense is Danny Stutzman, but the Sooners need guys like R. Mason Thomas and Billy Bowman Jr. to step up as well. And even outside of them, they're going to need other guys to contribute in this one. So with that, Chris, I'll jump right into it. You ready for this one, big guy? It's a lot of points. A guy like me from Georgia is going to have to count a long ways to do this. Give me Tennessee 45, Oklahoma 28.
Ooh, got a little bit of a shootout brewing. Before I give my prediction, I like your prediction, by the way. We're not too far off here. Here's the thing. You touched on it briefly. Jackson Arnold's been sacked 10 times this year. They've had a problem protecting him, and you alluded to it. That front seven of Tennessee's been awesome this year. I mean, they've been getting after quarterbacks. Ask the kid from NC State. And that's kind of where this game comes down to. You know, can OU move the football and protect Jackson Arnold? Because I think they're going to have to throw it in this game. I don't know, man, because you're going to have to be able to try to keep up pace with that Tennessee offense. I mean, Tennessee isn't only good running the ball. They can throw the ball. Nico can make plays. Look, I got Tennessee 42, Oklahoma 21.